So today we're going to look at different powers of imaginary numbers. Okay, so we're going to use this chart to talk about the powers of imaginary numbers. It says given a number I to the nth, the number can be simplified by using the following chart. So we're going to start with I to the 0. I to the 0 is equivalent to the number 1 because any number to the 0 power is 1. If we had I to the first, that's just equivalent to I because I is defined as the square root of negative 1. I to the second power is equal to negative 1 because I squared is the same thing as I times I, which is the square root of negative 1 times the square root of negative 1, which is equal to negative 1. I to the third is going to be equal to negative I because that's the same thing as saying I squared times I, which is like negative 1 times I. So that's why it's equal to negative I. I to the fourth is equal to positive 1 because I squared times I squared will give you I to the fourth, but we know I squared is defined as negative 1 times negative 1, which will give us that positive. I to the fifth is equal to I, because we could say that's the same thing as I to the fourth times I. Well, I to the fourth we just said was 1, so 1 times I is equal to I. And then it's just going to continue in a pattern. So we're going to use this chart to talk about the pattern. So like I said, the pattern is going to continue. It says to simplify powers of imaginary numbers, you're going to divide the exponent. Divide the exponent by 4. Then you're going to look at your remainder and use the chart. So if we have no remainder, our answer is going to be 1. If we have a remainder of 1, our answer is going to be I. If we have a remainder of 2, our answer is going to be negative 1. And a remainder of 3 will give us negative I. Okay, so we're going to simplify these examples. So we have I to the 32nd. So you're going to take your exponent, which is 32, and you're going to divide that by 4. So 4 goes into 32 evenly, and it goes 8 times, and we don't have a remainder here. So if we look at the chart from the previous slide, if we don't have a remainder, that means that our answer is 1. So I to the 32nd is the same thing as 1. Example 2 says I to the 53rd. So same thing, you take your exponent, you divide it by 4. So 4 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down 3. 4 goes into 13 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. And that gives us a remainder of 1. So 13 with a remainder of 1. So if you look at the previous chart, a remainder of 1 says that our answer is equal to I. So I to the 53rd is equivalent to I. Okay, example 3, we have I to the 78th. Same thing, you take your exponent and you're dividing it by 4. So 4 into 78. So 4 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. Bring down your 8. 4 goes into 38 9 times. 9 times 4 is 36. And our remainder is 2. So 19 remainder 2. So remainder 2 is what we're looking at. So if you look at your chart, the remainder of 2 says that that's equal to 1 because that means that I to the 78th is the same thing as I squared, but that's equal to negative 1. Remainder of 2 is negative 1. Number 4, we have I to the 107th. So take your exponent, divide by 4. So 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down our 7. 4 goes into 27 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract, which is 3. So 26, remainder of 3. So a remainder of 3 means that that's equivalent to I cubed. But if you look at your chart, remainder of 3 says that that's negative I. So I to the 107th is equal to negative I. Okay, last 2 examples, same thing. We're just trying to simplify here. So we're going to take our exponent on number 5, which is I to the 41st. So take your exponent, which is 41, and divide that by 4. So 4 into 41. So 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down the 1. 4 won't go into 1. So 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract. So 10 remainder of 1. So that means that that's the same thing as I to the first. So if you look at your chart, remainder of 1 is just I. So I to the 41st equals I. Number 6 says I to the 82nd. So take your exponent, which is 82, and you're going to divide by 4. So 4 goes into 8 2 times. 8 minus 8 is 0. Bring down the 2. 4 won't go into 2, so 0. 0 times 4 rather, 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. So 20 remainder of 2. So remainder 2 means that that's equivalent to I squared, where your chart says a remainder of 2 is negative 1. So I to the 82nd is equal to negative 1.